I think we've really built on the momentum from 2010. The turnout is off the charts. The committee has really done a great job of bringing new elements. We've thrown a lot against the wall in 3 years. The Innovation Showcase in particular, I think, is a nice new addition. The growth in the education programs. I mean, we're just a lot of energy, a lot of effort's been put into this. It's going very well. You know, I would say the thing that's really special is we really challenge the industry, and I say we, bakers and the exhibitors that are on the I.B.I.E committee. We really challenge the committee and the exhibitors to bring, their A game. You know, we wanted to see their most innovative processes. We wanted to see their most innovative equipment, ingredients, and I think they have shown up in spades. You look out on that show floor and the way the exhibitors have responded, you know, bringing their latest innovations. I've seen equipment that would amaze people that were here 10 years ago. And then also on the ingredient side, I think you just see, you know, a lot of new ideas in terms of product innovation, you know, how to improve the health profile of our products, just really exciting. The Innovation Showcase is I think, is the really neat new element where, again, it allows some of the exhibitors to come in and right up front, as soon as you walk in the door, you can see all the new and exciting things that are going on in the industry. But I think also it's more than, you know, it's just that, it's also a little bit of the entertainment elements, if you will. You've got more showcases, you've got more competitions. I think having the pizza category, which is a kind of a growing category, there's a lot of excitement and momentum behind that category. You know, we continue to keep the folks that have been here for the last couple of shows. So I think that kind of stuff really adds to the buzz and excitement and the momentum of the show. Whether it was process innovation, you know, whether it was on energy and environmental issues, you know, taking energy out of the production, whether it was new ingredients, new coatings, whatever it was, that they really thought that the industry needed to hear about and learn about. And so they submitted those ideas to us, and the committee decided which ones were going to go up front. And if you just walk through the showcase, when you really get a sense, you know, of what was there. And what's interesting is you'd love to be able to actually put the actual item in there, but there's no way you're going to put a new mixer up there.
Right.
But it's just a quick snapshot of the new products, new ideas that are coming to the industry. We had twice as many submissions this year, and I think, you know, we had a lot of fun earlier today walking around the show floor, handing out the awards, and so I think the industry's really embraced that. You're absolutely right, Josh. There's been unprecedented change since 2010, and frankly, there's been unprecedented change in the last 18 months. I was talking to some folks last week, and you know, I've been at I.B.I.E 18 years now, and I think there's been more change in the last 18 months than the entire 18 years combined. Obviously, you know, the big news is the consolidation. Certainly, the large bakers, you know, consolidating. We have half as many of the large bakers as we had 3 years ago. And yet you still have, you know, same needs on the part of the consumer who's still looking for a good, healthy, you know, wholesome product. But it's really changed the economy. I mean, in 3 years, you think about what the changes in the economy have brought. And so I think some really strong players have emerged out of the last 3 years. You know, the independents seem to be doing well. The smaller bakers are doing well. You know, I'm hearing of some not startup bakers, but, you know, really small bakers, 10, 25 million, that have very aggressive growth planned, great products, aggressive growth. And then obviously the big players in the industry, you know, continue to perform well. Not easy. I mean, they would tell you it's not easy. They have a lot of work in front of them, but they're excited about the work that they have ahead of them. You know, I think as much as, you know, a lot of associations are all about numbers, from my perspective, the strength of I.B.I.E is the engagement of the members. And so I think our membership today is even more engaged than it was 3 years ago. Yes, everybody knows that, like everybody else in the economy, we struggled financially, but because of the commitment of the membership, we're sitting in a very strong place. Never want to be complacent. We always want to make sure that we're returning value for our members' dollars, but I feel that we're in a pretty strong place today, and all the early indications on the show is that we're going to have a great show here, and that will obviously help, you know, I.B.I.E and our programs. The FDA in the shutdown is a concern for us because again, that's probably the one enforcement agency that we have a very close working relationship with. So if we have a member that gets into an issue, we can reach out to the FDA folks in Washington and have a conversation. Obviously on the regulatory side, they look to us as a resource, which is enormously helpful. But we have long advocated that FDA, frankly, hasn't gotten the resources it needs on the food safety, the food enforcement side, but it's down from its historic highs. I mean, they've dropped about 10 or 11 points in terms of the consumer confidence, and you probably don't think that there are people that are rating the effectiveness of these federal agencies, but they do. So it's the second highest rated government agency, but that consumer is questioning that a little bit. One of the biggest challenges our folks are facing is how to implement the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare as it's known. It's a huge challenge. I can't tell you, we've probably had a half dozen seminars. Every HR meeting for the last 3 years has been focused on how to implement, all or parts of the Affordable Care Act. We did get a year's extension in terms of the employer mandate, but a lot of the penalties, a lot of the taxes, a lot of the key components of Obamacare went into effect last week. And how companies grapple with that is probably one of the biggest challenges that they face in terms of government regulation. And these are really detailed issues. How do you define full-time versus part-time employment? Over the long term, this industry is looking at a very healthy future. The great news is people love our product. They love to bring our product. It's been, at the center of the American diet, the center of the world diet for that matter, for thousands of years, and I just don't see that changing. Product mix is going to change. There's going to be new innovations. There's going to be new products, obviously, but we're continuing to meet the consumer's fundamental desire. And as a baker who I asked what I should say today said, it's all about the bread. Everything else is just details. There's a couple of projects, a couple of initiatives that really are very important to I.B.I.E, and obviously the show is going to give us some of the resources to do that. Working and being able to fully fund the Grain Foods Foundation would be probably the top of the list, so that not only reaching influencers and ultimately consumers, but giving I.B.I.E the resources to be active in the dietary guidelines debate in Washington is enormously important. All of the other categories are investing and increasing their investment in terms of influencing the outcome of the dietary guidelines, and we need to keep pace with that. I look at things like what United Fresh is doing to promote the consumption of fruits and vegetables. I look at what dairy is doing to promote the consumption of dairy foods, and I just saw that the Frozen Food Institute has announced a $35 million campaign. We need to keep pace with that. In everything today, it's a competitive environment, including product promotion.